How's everyone doing, guys? Cody, guys, back again, dropping another video. Right, guys, as you can tell from the title, I'm going to be talking about sentences being increased on the back of victims and victims' families complaining. I did a few interviews on this yesterday. 141 people have had their sentences increased on the back of victims and victims' families complaining that the sentences were what they call unduly lenient sentences. And that's including sex offenders, right? So you're talking from where the victims think they should have gone to prison, they've got a suspended sentence, right? So by complaining, they've actually ended up putting the person in prison, right? Or people are already in prison and they might have a short sentence, but the sentence has been increased because the victims and the victims' families have said that the sentence was unduly lenient and stuff like that. Now, like I say, you've got that includes sex offenders, guys, right? People that are a threat to children, paedophiles, rapists. Well, not rapists. Rapists will end up in prison, but paedophiles and potential like people that have got images of children and things like that, and them sort of sick freaks, they've been given suspended sentences and stuff. And on the back of the victims' complaints and stuff, they've ended up in prison, and rightfully so. I've got no time for sex offenders or anything like that. But prison doesn't rehabilitate and reform them. If you think that sex offenders go to prison and they're given training and rehabilitation, like not training, it's the wrong word, but if you think that they do courses to try and stop them reoffending, then you're clueless. It doesn't take place, guys. 141 people have the sentences increased, including a woman called Sarah Sands. Sarah Sands stabbed to death a paedophile. And I think she's a mother of 5, and she stabbed this paedophile to death, and her sentence was increased. Now, this is going to open a debate. It's a very subjective matter. Do you think that someone that stabbed to death a convicted paedophile, do you think that should the courts have gone more lenient? Should they have punished them more? Should she get the same treatment as everybody else that would be on the same charges? You'll have to let me know, guys. But like I say, prison doesn't reform or rehabilitate you, guys, right? Like I say, I can only speak through my experiences, guys, right? I was a cleaner on my last stretch, and I've seen the state of prisons firsthand and stuff. That's why I speak out now. When I do these interviews, guys, I'm not paid for them in any way, shape or form. And they contact me, and like I say, I like to speak out. Just because, like I said, I've left prison now and I'm away from crime, but I still talk about crime and prison because it's something I feel passionate about. And the state of prisons, in my opinion, a lot needs to be done to reform and overhaul the prison system because it's failing prisoners and prisoners' families, and prison officers even. But yeah, these increased sentences, guys, right? Like I say, there's no consistency. And the reason you don't see consistency, because even though you might have 2 guys that have got images of children and stuff, one might be a person of good character and the other person might be someone that's been done for it before and stuff like that. So you don't get the consistency there, guys, right? They've got to take into consideration the mitigating and the aggravating circumstances and stuff like that. Now, some people that hoard child abuse images and these like paedophiles and stuff, or these paedophiles that turn up to meet children and stuff, but they're intercepted by people like Shane Brannigan, the paedophile hunter, or the Hunted, or Angels of the North, and all these other various paedophile like predator captures, like paedophile hunters and stuff like that. Some of them go to prison and some of them don't, right? Now, how can you send one to prison that's got thousands of images, but then someone that's got the same amount, he gets a suspended sentence, guys? So that's what I'm referring to. It's that the courts are not consistent and stuff like that when it comes to sentencing and things like that. Prisons are overcrowded, but people like sex offenders and people that hoard these horrific images of child abuse and paedophiles and stuff that turn up to meet these children with the intention of raping them, because I think it's statutory rape and stuff. If you're under the age of 16 and you have sex with someone, they might not hold you down and pin you down, but it's still statutory rape. And like I say, guys, the court system is. I was in prison with a guy who got done for £25 million worth of tax evasion for cigarettes smuggled into the country. He got 9 years, and yet a paedophile that's got images of children or turns up to meet a child is getting half of that. He's getting a third of that. Do you know what I mean? It's wrong, guys, on so many levels. This guy was 57. He had health problems, this guy that I was in prison with for tax evasion. And yet a paedophile or someone that's been done numerous times gets a couple of years, guys, for hoarding images or turning up with the intention to inciting like sexual activity with a child and stuff, or lewd behaviour or something like The consistency just is not there, guys. Like I say, and the reason is, like I say, it's mitigating and aggravating circumstances. When it comes to mitigating circumstances, they've got to. People will come out with all sorts, or that they're ill, they've got mental illness, they clutch at straws, right? So you don't get sent to prison. Like I say, in the eyes of, sometimes when it comes to sentencing and stuff, sometimes the judge will just pass down the sentence, and other times he'll seek what you call a pre-sentence report. A pre-sentence report is where sentences are delayed for like a week or two, and then you go and you sit down with probation, and probation will do a background, like they'll ask you about the offence, about the nature of your crime. Like I said, it could be assault, it could be like fraud. There's a lot of different crimes across the spectrum, guys, where, like I say, and they'll ask you why you did it. Is there any remorse there? Is there any contributing factors that you should take into account? Things like that. And when you go to these pre-sentence reports and stuff like that, the probation officer, you've got to be yes, sir, no, sir, 3 bags full, sir, because that person can write you off and get you. If your attitude's bad in that room for that hour, they can write you off and you'll go to prison. But sometimes the judge listens to the pre-sentence report and he'll say, right, we don't think that this person should go to prison. Like, say it was a paedophile that had images of children, right? What they could say, what the courts could say, what probation could say, and I've read it in the media, is they could say, right, probation could say, right, don't send him to prison. What we want to do, we want to work with him on a sex offenders program and like try and reduce reoffending. But I don't think you can rehabilitate or any sort of course. I do not think it's going to stop a sex offender carrying out and continuing and reoffending, guys. So like I say, should these people go to prison where they get no rehabilitation and do no courses, or do you not send them to prison, give them the freedom, and then put them on a sexual harm prevention order, and then make them go to classrooms and stuff with other paedophiles where they actually do like what the impact is on the victim and things like that to stop them reoffending. What do you guys think? You guys, it's going to be a subjective matter. I'm open to interpretation with this, guys. Some people are going to say fuck them, slam them, castrate them, chemically castrate them, hang them, kill them, stone them. And other people are going to say, yes, paedophiles, it's a mental illness. And like I say, they should be doing courses. But guys, honestly, is a course going to stop them reoffending? I don't think so. And it's not just sex offenders, guys. It is literally, it could be assault. You could assault someone and then the victims, like you could get a suspended sentence, like for 12 months or 2 years, suspended sentence, right? And then the victims can go to can write to their MPs and write to the Justice Secretary and stuff and try and get these sentences increased. But on the flip side of that, you've got prisoners can also, they can go to the CCRC, the Criminal Case Review Committee, and they can write to them and challenge their conviction. If they think that the conviction's unsafe, or the fact that certain things were overlooked, or the sentence was too harsh in their opinion, they can also apply to get the sentence reduced or even quashed, depending on the circumstances and stuff. So like I say, guys, the court system, guys, is very subjective. Some people think it's soft, some people think it's too harsh, but prisons are definitely overcrowded. But do you say that we're gonna like sex offenders should all go to prison, right? And then people that are done for fraud and assault, they should be put on suspended sentences? You guys have to let me know. Or is it vice versa? Like I say, the court system and the penal system, guys, very, very it changes opinion and it's very subjective. And like I say, people are going to have no sympathy for sex offenders and stuff like that when it comes to rape and these sorts of crimes and stuff, and grooming and things like that. Like I say, when these paedophile hunters are turning up, I think they do a fantastic job. And when they turn up, right, to intercept these paedophiles turn up with the intention, thinking that they're meeting someone that's under the age of 16, with the intention of having sex with them and taking that person. It will break their spirit, it will break their soul, scar them for life, emotional, mental pain. People go on to commit suicide and self-harm. So like I say, is anyone really going to have any sort of sympathy with someone that's been done for trying to non-soft children? Not in my opinion, no. Like I say, but does prison work? Right? Across the board, does prison work? No, it doesn't. Does reform and rehabilitation take place in prison? No, Not in my opinion. I've been there. I can't speak for everybody. I only speak through my own experiences, guys. I'm not an expert on prisons. I'm not an expert on crime. I've been arrested a hell of a lot of times. I know the things you can and can't get away with involved in crime. And I've been in prison and I know what goes on in prison and stuff. So I'm out of prison now, right? I don't have to speak out. I can just carry on with my life and ignore it, right? Like I say, I don't get paid. These vlogs, right? I've done over 55 hours of vlogs, right? Which is over 3,315 minutes, right? I do interviews every other day. I'm doing interviews. This week, I can't even tell you how many interviews I've done, right? I'm not asked about doing interviews. People think that I want to do interviews. No. The thing is, for me, I'm out of prison, but because I've seen what goes on in prison, I speak out, right? And prison doesn't work. It's counterproductive, guys. People are going into prison, I would never taking drugs and leaving as drug addicts, right? So yeah, I speak out. I don't have to speak out. I don't get paid to speak out. I do these vlogs. These vlogs don't change anything, do they? Right? I do interviews with the media, which bore me, to be honest. I don't get paid for them, and I put a hell of a lot of time into prison, right? And crime, and speaking about crime. Doesn't change anything though, does it? No, it doesn't. But like I say, guys, what's your opinions of the court system? Are they too strict? Are they too fair? Are they too lenient? Should certain crimes go, like, where you don't go to prison? Should other crimes people definitely go to prison? What if someone was done for grooming? What would be a significant sentence to you? Because the thing is, when they pass a sentence as well, people are like, well, they should have got longer. But what it is, the Crown Prosecution Service, if you Google an offence and you Google like the maximum for that offence, like if you put CPS sentencing guidelines and then the nature of the offence, right, it'll tell you the minimum and it'll tell you the maximum, and then it might give you a case versus case as like Archibald and stuff like that. So Archibald is a book about law and stuff like that, about crimes and everything, about the rules and everything and what you can and can't get away with, and case versus case and stuff like that. And people use these when it comes to sentencing and stuff, like defence and prosecution alike. Right, guys, I'm going to go away. This isn't the best video I've ever done, but I just thought I'd put it out there. Look forward to your comments, and I'll speak to you all soon. All right, guys, speak to you soon. Bye.